don't want to spend on standing seam, they can spend on a double skin roof, which gives you acoustic and thermal value and taking care of the leakages also. Then the standing seam roof again can be done within, if it is a, like we are doing projects for Godrej, Mercedes-Benz, where, you know, they don't want, means the aesthetic part is not very important because it's a factory building, but they were more keen on thermal insulation of the building, leak-proof system, proper detailing junction, all that stuff. So we had given a, if you see this, there's no liner here, and we have just given the bottom sheet, the insulation, and the top sheet in standing seam system. This is a very interesting project that we did for General Motors, where, you know, the machine was taken at roof level, and we roll formed a sheet of almost 110 meters single length. So absolutely no joints on the roof. Even the polycarbonate was roll formed to 110 meters, which is one of its kind. And we were successful in giving them a complete, you know, watertight building. And, you know, in terms of insulation, everything, they are quite happy. So these are, as I told you, you know, apart from the roofing, there are a lot of other accessories, which are like the gutters, the louvers, the ventilations, the crim sheets, the flashings, which plays a very important role in, you know, the detailing of the roof. And people normally ignore this, but that is where the problem lies. And, you know, we as a company, we are not only manufacturers, but we have a labor force of over 400 people who are trained and are with us for the past 10-12 years. So, which helps in achieving a watertight building. And, you know, that's about it. And, you know, thank you. Thank you for your time and patience. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you once again. And as discussed with you all, that we'll be having questions for this technical session once we are done with all the 5 presentations. And once again, thank you so much, Dr. Satish Nair. Moving ahead, I'd like to request Mr. Salil Chaudhary to join us. So, welcome, Mr. Chaudhary, who has extensive experience in the realm of tourism and other aspects. Today, he comes to enlighten us more. Once again, let's welcome Mr. Salil Chaudhary, who's also handling the business development. And today, will be apprising us on several other aspects. So, with this, I'll request Mr. Chaudhary to join us, Business Development Manager, India, Southeast Asia, and Pacific for Macquarie. Once again, welcome. Around with a applause, Mr. Salil Chaudhary.
Good afternoon, everyone. Ma'am, thank you for the kind introduction. Just to give you a brief on what the organization Macquarie does. We are a civil engineering firm. So we design solutions ranging from landslide mitigation, rockfall protection, anything and everything that has to do with infrastructure. So a lot of guests have spoken about how zinc is important for industries like vehicles, for roofing. I just want to give a few points how zinc plays an equally important role on civil infrastructure. So today, the world is in need of engineered solutions. But do we incorporate those points in the design? In the coming years, we are absolutely sure the conditions are going to be more aggressive, are going to be worse. But do we consider all those aspects in the design of an infrastructure project? On a daily basis, we get to know from newspapers, from social media, how the various environmental changes is affecting our day-to-day life. Damages due to cyclones, due to floods, due to tsunamis in coastal areas. So from an organizational point of view, we would like to tackle the problems of depleting natural resources, land acquisition prices, rapid pace of infrastructure construction, which has a huge initial cost. So our solutions, our approach is towards sustainability and providing innovative solutions. So my presentation would be broadly divided in 3 aspects. First of all, I would like to speak about double twisted gabion systems. in the infrastructure industry, a gabion is basically called as a wire crate. But a gabion is an engineered wire mesh solution. So if you can see on the right, the mass of zinc coating ranges from anywhere between 240 to 280 GSM. And these are the different solutions that can be made out of a single mesh. Why I was emphasizing on the mass of zinc. In India, we have a huge problem of unengineered solutions, which we call it as the handmade solutions. For over 5 decades, people have been using low-coated zinc wires to make gabions. So as you can see, the strength is obvious. The strength is 3 times less than an engineered product. And then the coating would be anywhere between the range of 60 to 90 GSM. And over here, as per the Bureau of Indian Standards, we're talking about anywhere upwards of 220 GSM. That's how important zinc coating is for a gabion structure. And how and where do we apply these gabion products? We basically use them in flexible earth retention systems. The conventional methods are to make RCC walls, which are rigid, which have drainage problems, but using double-twisted gabion mesh products, we can have a gabion wall. We can have a Terra mesh wall, a green Terra mesh wall, which I will explain further, which are not only more flexible, are cheaper by up to 25 to 30%, and are easier on the environment. The advantages: they are more environmental friendly, they are economically more competitive, much easier to install, and since they are flexible, they are more seismic resistant. A Terra mesh solution is simply a gabion box with a tail. So using these solutions in India, I will be further moving to the case studies. I think someone was mentioning about the airports. The Kannur airport was recently completed by us with L&T, having a retaining wall height of 70 meters. That is still less than the Pakyong airport that was completed in the northeast. The wall height was 75 meters without the use of a single RCC wall. The entire wall was made using Terra mesh gabion structures. A green Terra mesh is a similar engineered solution, just having a greener fascia. As you can see on the picture on the right, this is the exact picture of the Pakyong airport. What is a paramesh structure? It is nothing but a Terra mesh and a geogrid. So using good steel products with geosynthetic solutions, we can make a beautiful retaining wall, which is, as I said, more flexible, friendly to the environment. As we know, India is a cost-sensitive environment. So as the height of the structures grow, the cost of a hybrid system, which is a paramesh or a geomesh system, is much, much cheaper than your conventional solutions. We are also offering a new coating, which is called the Polymac. Just moving on. So it has a low carbon steel wire, a highly galvanized coating, and then a new polymer coating, which is chemical resistance, mechanical performance is very high, environmentally friendly, and very, very long lasting. What are the uniqueness? It's up to 10% high abrasive resistance. It can work for temperatures up to minus 35 degrees. It is highly UV resistance. And even during installation, it is 23% more able to sustain higher damages. And when it is exposed to chemicals like sodium hydroxide and ammonia, it has a better chemical resistance. These are the various structures we can use in the infrastructure sector. There are a wide array of codal applications from the BIS, from MOD specifications, Indian Road Congress, and the newly issued IRC 2014, which clearly specifies that how a retaining wall, a reinforced soil wall, can be used by completely replacing a conventional RCC structure. This is one of the projects we did for Tata Housing, the iconic Bombay-Pune Expressway, a national highway project in Kiratpur, Himachal Pradesh. Just to give you a brief, a conventional solution would offset you easily 50% more than these hybrid solutions. And as the height of the structure goes up, the cost increases manifold. Moving to the last section, the rockfall protection systems. We've seen all over the Himalayan terrain and even in the Western Ghats, the dire need of rockfall protection measures. So switching from conventional solutions like RCC walls, using barriers, using retaining walls, we can offer a wide array of rockfall protection solutions. Based on finding the problem at site, be it of large blocks falling, small debris, or a collapse, or of an unstable slope, we can design a solution. Be it a preventive measure through anchors and drainage, or a protection measure through drapery systems, or again, a retention measure through secured drapery plus anchors. A rockfall mitigation measure can be devised. Moving on to a case project. The Saptashrungi, people who hail from Maharashtra would be aware that in Nasik there's a very important religious site by the name of Saptashrungi temple. So we were asked to do the entire protection work for the Saptashrungi temple, which has about 300 pilgrims per day. As you can see, a very challenging site which has overhangs of rocks which pose a huge danger to the pilgrims and also to the temple. In 2008, huge destruction was caused to the main temple body because of the falling rocks. We undertook an extensive LIDAR survey, topographical and geographical investigations to estimate what exact solution would be needed. Starting off with high energy absorption panels, which are highly coated, rigid systems which were rolled down from the slope. Anchors were drilled, and this was how the final structure looked. Also, we incorporated rockfall barriers on the slopes. And in 2017, a huge shift when huge rocks measuring up to 300 kgs were dislodged from the slope. The whole structure worked beautifully and there was not even a single casualty. And on similar lines, again, people who drove from the Bombay-Pune Expressway, the entire rockfall protection measure was done using double-twisted solutions and high energy absorption wire mesh. Similar, towards the end, what is McAfee? We are an organization who's been in India for the past 20 years, and globally we've been doing business for more than 140 years. And some of our market sectors range from transportation, agribusiness, buildings, emergency and floods. And our applications have a wide range from retaining walls, coastal protection, hydraulic works, and so on. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much, Mr. Salil Chaudhary. He also deserves a round of applause. So thank you so much for apprising us about all the great work that you're doing in the realm of engineering and construction and the scope for galvanizing ahead, and of course sticking to the timeline. Thank you. Distinguished audience, our last speaker for this session, and after that we will be having to hear from you all for the question answers. Right now I'll be inviting Mr. Murtuza Butwala. He is the CEO of Highlight Group and is a subject matter expert in different kinds of coatings. With a round of applause, let's welcome Mr. Murtuza Butwala. Sir, welcome. And he will be apprising us on the contribution of galvanizing in the realm of renewable power infrastructure. Very significant topic. Mr. Butwala, welcome, and over to Mr. Butwala. With a round of applause, let's welcome Murtuza, sir.
Good evening, everybody. I'm here to speak about contribution in galvanizing in renewable energy. Energy is an important asset for man today. Whether we like it or not, our lives revolve and depend on sources of energy. Other sources of energy like coal, oil and gas are exhaustive and expensive now. The best form of energy is renewable energy because of its abundance. I will quickly. Today, the renewable energy is amounting to about 22.3% of total installed power. A GW of power can support 800,000 homes in India. India currently has 30 gigawatts set power and is on its way to 100 gigawatts by 2022. That's its target. Wind contributes about 37 gigawatts. Let me break it down in tonnages. 1 megawatt for a light structure would be approximately about 25 tons. 1 megawatt of a large structure would be about 240 tons of solar panels, solar structures. So we can convert that in usage of galvanizing required for that. Now, why do we need to have solar and wind? It's very simple, straightforward, that it's cleaner, it reduces carbon emissions, it encourages grid connectivity, it's easy to put up all over because of sun available and the wind available all over. Our renewable energy mission is about, combined with solar and wind, is about 140 gigawatts by 2022. Now, why galvanize? Why do we need to do galvanize on the structures? Being a galvanizer for me, it's basic. First and foremost, it really looks good, better than the rust. The steel gray finish looks beautiful. It doesn't have drip marks. It doesn't have the red rolling down the steel, which steel usually comes with. The architectures have accepted it in buildings because of its aesthetics. Yesterday, an architect, Mr. Gurpreet Shah, mentioned about Eiffel Tower, and he questioned it that earlier there was no hot dip galvanizing, but still Eiffel Tower is still standing. But let me put it up to you all. Eiffel Tower is standing, yes, but French are spending millions and millions of euros every 7 years to repaint it, to keep it up there. So, and galvanizing doesn't have maintenance in comparison to paint coating. It has a longer life. It has about 75 years of zero maintenance. The durability with no corrosions to steel is maintained. Its physical property of physical and chemical property. Between where you're utilizing your galvanized structure, galvanized can give you up to 20 years. If it's closer to the water and if it's going closer to the rural area, it can give up to about 100 years. Now, I'll also mention what different kinds of coatings are available in the kind of anchor bolts in hydro, which can be done zinc electroplating, hot dip galvanizing, Xylon coating. Your wind tower supports are galvanized. Your anchor bolts in wind tower is zinc flake coated. Your solar stands are hot dip galvanized. Your pylon tracking system are hard chrome coated so that there is no friction. Your fasteners have zinc flake and hot dip galvanizing. Now I'll talk about a new coating, which is, one second, sorry, I can't get my page. Yeah, let me introduce the smart coating to you. The smart zinc flake coating is a hybrid between hot dip galvanizing and electroplating. It is only about 10 to 15 microns, which will give you a service life of more than 1,000 salts per hours, more or less. With additional top coats, we can achieve up to 3,000 hours. With additional top coats like Xylon, we can have acid resistance also on it. It's commonly used in renewable energy. Automobile has accepted with wide arms. Your Tesla cars have all the bolts and nuts based out of zinc flake coating. Another plus point with zinc flake coating is there's no acid used. It is absolutely zero acid. so it helps the environment. It's a greener coating. There's no hydrogen debrittlement for high tensile bolts and nuts. Let me quickly run a comparison sheet between zinc flake, hot dip, and stainless steel. Zinc flake coating will be about 10 microns to 12 microns. Hot dip galvanizing will be about 60, 65 microns. SS stays as it is. But the service life on the base level of zinc flake will be about 700. You can achieve up to 3,000 salt spray hours. Hot dip galvanizing, we usually don't measure in salt spray, but on a thumb rule, we can call it as even. There's no hydrogen debrittlement in zinc flake. Hydrogen debrittlement can cause in hot dip galvanizing, but we can avoid that with baking. Let's talk about cost, which everybody's been talking about. Hot dip galvanizing on a fastener or on a zinc flake would cost you roughly about 110 rupees to 120 rupees, whereas SS would cost you 3 times more, which will be about 300 rupees a kg. Yesterday, somebody mentioned that hot dip galvanizing is poor man's product compared to SS. I would call it a smart man's process rather than a poor man's. All these coatings are widely available. The finishes are fairly beautiful. Zinc flake would be, you can have multiple colors, your gray, your black, XYZ. You can add more colors if you want to add some pigments to it. I'll finish off this slide with that. I will talk about Highlight Group. Highlight Group is a family-owned business which has started in 1943. From a very humble background, from a manual plant, today we are completely automized and we've got about 7 plants in 7 locations. We have 23 different kinds of coatings. We do zinc aluminum flake coating, iron zinc, electroplating, hot dip galvanizing, lead, tin lead, SS. Most of the coatings are done in-house with us. We've got 3 galvanizing plants, one in Chakan, one in Pimpri, one in Navi Mumbai, which caters to different needs of galvanizing depending upon their product. So we've got a separate fastener galvanizing line, we've got a separate structural galvanizing line, we've got a combination line, depending upon the needs of the customer. Highlight has contributed about 500 megawatts till now in solar structures, which amounts to close to 25,000 tons, if I'm not wrong. And we do about 3,000 metric tons annually for wind industry. I'll just conclude quickly before you'll go for lunch break. I'm taking your time too much. Renewable energy will continue to be a popular choice to meet rising energy demands. Hot dip galvanizing used in solar and wind is a sustainable choice for corrosion protection because of its maintenance-free durability, saves millions over the life of solar and wind structure. Another thing about solar is you cannot give a guarantee of a 25 years until it's galvanized because it's based out of steel. And this is the only process which will allow you to delay for that much time. I'm looking forward to hear from you. We are there on LinkedIn, marketing, emails, blah, blah, blah. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much, Murtaza sir. Once again, I'd like to call all our speakers for this technical session. Requesting Mr. Salil Chaudhary, sir, please join us. Dr. Satish Nair, Mr. Rajendra join us here. Dr. Satish Taylor. Requesting all our speakers with us on stage. Can we have a round of applause for them? Once again, requesting Dr. Taylor, please join us here on stage, sir. Mr. Rajendra Kaushal, Dr. Satish Nair, Mr. Salil Chaudhary, and Mr. Murtaza Bhutwala. Once again, welcome. And yes, sir, here. Any questions? If you have any questions, you can raise your hand, and our speakers are there with you, in front of you. So, or perhaps you can transfer the questions during the lunch break offline. Okay, there's a question. Volunteers, can we have a mic there so that speakers, I request if you guys can please join us here. Yes, sir. Yeah, please be seated, please be seated. Just, yes, sir.
Just want to ask Satish, what is the current growth rate in the pre-engineered building systems industry?
Sir, if you see now, all the buildings that are designed are pre-engineered. Means I have seen a drastic growth in pre-engineered building segment, and in fact, to be very honest, we were more of a specialist of roofing initially, and we felt that we should get into the pre-engineered segment, and in fact, most, or even if you see metro projects, they are pre-engineered. Even an airport roof, when you I have seen they are done at the factory level, pre-engineered, and then brought to site, so which gives you better quality, better control over the overall scheme of things. So
Will it be a double-digit growth? That's the point I was asking.
it means I can't give you a number, to be very honest, but it should be a double-digit growth.
Thank you. Any other question? Okay, I invite on Mr. Ken D'Souza, consultant IZA USA. Sir, please join us here on stage and do the honors to present a token of our gratitude and appreciation for all our specialists and presenters for the previous technical session. We would like to felicitate at the outset Dr. Satish Taylor. Thank you so much, Dr. Satish. We started with you, and you indeed gave great insights for zinc thermal spraying on field applications. So a round of applause as we felicitate Dr. Satish. Dr. Satish, if you can join us here in the middle of the stage. Yeah. And a round of applause as we present the certificate. Dr. Satish Taylor, thank you. Next, we have the felicitation for Mr. Rajendra Kaushal, Vice President Coatings, Walmart Industries. I don't see Mr. Kaushal here. Has he left? Mr. Rajendra Kaushal? He's not here. Dr. Satish Nair, Director Sales and Marketing. Once again, Dr. Nair. Thank you so much, sir, for all those great insights, for making us understand for the aspects of modern roofing for smart infrastructure. A round of applause for Dr. Nair. Next, we'd like to felicitate Mr. Salil Chaudhary. Mr. Chaudhary, thank you so much. Great insights, great learning with you for this previous technical session. Yeah. And a round of applause, everyone. And lastly, but surely not the least, Mr. Murtuza Bhutwala from Highlight Galvanizers. Mr. Bhutwala, please join us here. And let's have a round of applause once again to congratulate all the speakers for this segment on construction and infrastructure, and many others. Many other issues were also covered during this session. I request Mr. D'Souza for a group photograph together. Mr. Rajendra Kaushal, do we see you here? No, we don't. Yeah, I see sir coming. A round of applause to welcome Mr. Rajendra Kaushal, and I request Mr. Ken D'Souza to felicitate at the SAR Mr. Rajendra Kaushal from Walmart Structures Private Limited. Gratitude, Mr. Kaushal, for all those views during this session. And once again, a round of applause, everyone. Come on. Thank you so much, Mr. Kaushal. Everyone, applause, please. Mr. D'Souza, a group photograph.
Group picture with the young engineer.
Well, age is just a number. Everyone's young here. Once again, everyone, with this, we come to the conclusion of our second technical session for the day 2 of International Galvanizing Conference 2019. We look forward to some more networking and interaction together as we meet in the pre-function area right now for a networking and refreshing lunch break. We request everyone to join us at 2:30 p.m. So if you could time up your watches and mobiles at 2:30 p.m. Once again, we'll begin with the third technical session, that is Galvanizing Avenues. We have some exciting and interesting speakers and presentations lined up. As you all know, just in some time from now, as we conclude our international conference on galvanization, we will be having some exciting giveaways for everyone present in the house. We look forward to have you all for the lunch. Have a refreshing lunch break. Please do visit the exhibition area also. We have stalls and other displays that's outside. Please find time to visit there. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Just a normal introduction about the show. How did you find the technical discussion?
I think some of the presentations were very useful. They were to the point. They highlighted some aspects about the galvanizing industry which are not being followed up to the level that they should be. The others were more about the general scenario. But some presentations about the exact spray of zinc and how thermal spray can be used better for replacing some of the other coatings which are going on in the industry. They were more interesting for me.
And how did you find the event overall?
The event has been organized at a good scale, and there's participation from across the industries, many users, suppliers, vendors. So it's also a good networking platform. And I think the scale of the event is rising, with every new session that they're doing. I think this is the third one. So we look forward to a better and bigger fourth IZA as well.
And one thing you liked most about the event?
Like I said, so it connects people across industries. So there are people coming from the supply side, there are people who are users, there are people who are final end users. So it's connecting the entire value chain, bringing everybody on the same platform with a common agenda to increase the usage of the metal zinc and, save the infrastructure, making the steel industry also feel a little responsible towards the same, and making the government officials more aware, and making the private sector aware of the opportunity that comes along with it.
So any favorite session or any favorite presentation you like the most about the event?
I like the presentation by MEC, which highlighted the exact parameters of the thermal spray. I also liked the presentation by the railways yesterday, because that's again a big opportunity, from a private sector perspective, and a great requirement which has been cared less about for the last so many years. So I'm very glad that they're focusing on it finally, and it's finally going to save a lot of money as far as infrastructure goes.
And how did you like the event management of the show?
It's been very good. I think from IZA, Rahul and team have been doing a fantastic job. So Rahul ji is very passionate, and his enthusiasm about the zinc industry is infectious. And due to his goodwill, we see a lot of people have attended, and a lot of dignitaries have joined the program as well. The team is also very passionately doing the job, and also I think the staff along have done a great job.
Thank you so much. Have a nice day ahead. Thank you. So it's a quick introduction about the show. Would you like to give the interview?
Sure.
Okay. So how did you find the technical discussion?
It was informative. Good discussion happened, especially in front of government and the policy maker, which is good. So they understand what we are technically doing, and they are understanding what's going on in India.
So one thing you like the most about the show? Just speak loud.
Loudly? It's okay. I thought this. Okay.
So one thing you like the most about the show?
The good part is like you mentioned, technical discussion, which I like the most. Technical, all we are discussing with the government directly. Guys are here, they understand what's going on, and other people from other countries, they have also participated, like China have seen. So that knowledge we also got, like what's going on in other part of the world.
Any favorite session or presentation you would say, like anything you like?
Yeah, yesterday there is one steel bridge railways presentation which I like the most.
And how did you find the event overall?
It was good. We are sponsored here, and we are also working along with IZA to push zinc in India.
So you like the event management, well prepared to the show of this?
Yes, very much.
Thank you so much. Have a nice day. Did you
day.
find the technical discussion?
Very interesting, very informative, particularly from all the end users of galvanized steel, those who are in pre-engineered building systems, those who are in infrastructure, those in renewable energy. So this is very good feedback for the galvanizing industry, and I'm from the zinc industry. And I think normally the galvanizers speak, but this is one forum where the users are speaking, giving their own growth rates, their own story, their own future. So that's the difference between this conference and the conference which I organize normally, where galvanizers come and speak more.
One thing you like the most about the show, sir?
The presence of large number of users of galvanized steel. They are all here in big numbers, and there are a lot of exhibition stalls for the consumer awareness, educating the users. So the exhibition is a good thing, and I wish there were more galvanizers in this show also, because it is their market here. Their customers are all here. Yeah, what else?
So any favorite session or a presentation?
In fact, the session on infrastructure and construction, that's very interesting, and more papers are to come in the post-lunch session, and it is going to be infrastructure, energy, and construction in India, which is really going to push demand for galvanized steel, or for that matter, even demand for steel also. Automobiles we did discuss, but that's a futuristic market. But infrastructure, construction, energy, these are the areas where India is going to put lots and lots of money in the coming years. And therefore, you will see a quantum jump in demand for metals. Right.
And the last question I would like to ask, how did you find the overall event management?
Event management has been good. I have nothing to say much about.
So, how did you find the technical discussion over the show?
Yeah, technical discussion is very good, and I took so many knowledge, and actually I prefer from this background. Actually, we are from Max Roof, so I gained so many knowledge.
And one best thing you liked the most?
Yeah, panel discussion is very good, and I took so many knowledge from that the mentors and the other panel guys.
Any favorite session or any favorite presentation you like?
I think yesterday Mr. Pradhan, who is our Minister of Coals and Petroleum, he gave very good speech.
And how did you find the overall event management? So would you like to give any ratings on this out of 10?
Yeah, it's 10 out of 10. Yeah.
Thank you so much. It's Black Riders. Find the technical discussion.
As far as technical discussion was concerned, it was giving an insight into the zinc industry and the new techniques which are evolving over a period, and how large infrastructure projects, their life can be increased through galvanizing. So the technical session was quite.
Any suggestion for future you want to give for this kind of a show?
Suggestion would be, if there could be one session where the people from academics who are working or who are doing research on the zinc industry, especially zinc application, if there could be one session specifically dedicated to the academic part, then it would be quite fine.
One best thing you like the most, sir?
The best thing, every speaker was a knowledgeable one, and whatever they said, they increased the knowledge of all the participants. That was the best thing.
And how did you find the overall event management? Would you like to give a rating for that? It's wonderful for you. Find the technical discussion.
The technical discussion in this conference appears to be of really highest order. Although we have a problem in time management and other thing, but the technical things discussed for the topic for which the conference is there has been very well covered.
One best thing you like the most about the show, sir?
Very good ambience, very good management in the hall in terms of the audio visual, in terms of the presentation style, and in terms of creating value addition for the subject itself.
So any suggestions you would like to give for the future show like this?
I think one of the main limitation which makes this conference slightly a techno-commercial rather than a technical conference is that many of the subjects have not gone into depth. We are talking only from the surface, and the industry is trying to give a overview of this thing rather than going into the real issues into that. So maybe if some of the talks are made a techno-commercial type of the thing where technical content is still better, that will really make this conference very, very good.
So, and one more last question. How did you find the overall event management? So, would you like to give any ratings for that?
I will give 9 out of 10 because there is a very nice anchor. She is taking care of each and every speaker in a proper fashion. She is giving a good introduction. She is making a good connect between the speakers and the participants. The panel discussions are properly handled by experts from public media. So that is of really great value.
Thank you so much for your valuable time. Thank you.